What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Brofolio. Today the markets made new all-time highs again. While oil sat at $100, Japanese yields continued to rise, and the President of the United States dropped a stock trading disclosure that reads like textbook market manipulation. Yeah, that happened. Let's break it all down. First on the clock, crude oil and the market that doesn't sleep. Since the war, Saudi Arabia has seen their output drop to its lowest level since 1990, and the IEA is saying the global oil market will stay undersupplied through October, even if the conflict ends next month. But here's the part that has stuck out since the start of the war. The selling pressure has not come during peak liquidity hours. It has shown up in the thinnest, lowest volume window of the trading day. The kind of window where a single tweet can really move the print. This has led to many people calling out these events for exactly what it looks like, manipulation of an illiquid book. And right alongside it, the same people are flagging the strategic releases hitting the news. Two things happening at once. Real geopolitical supply tightness is occurring, and quasi-government selling doesn't stop the real shortages that is hitting the world. Now let's recap the US indexes. All four major indexes closed at record highs. The S&P added 0.74%. The Nasdaq jumped 1.05%. The Russell gained 0.67%, and the Dow advanced 0.79%. Taking back 50,000, the first close above that level since Pam Bondi's infamous rant during her Congress hearing on the Epstein files in February. The S&P is now stretched further above its 50-day moving average than it has been in a very long time. The band of extension on the right side of this picture does not happen by accident. It happens because dealers are short gamma into a one-way market and getting forced to buy on the way up. The last 3 weeks has had narrow leadership of mega-cap tech doing all the work, from gamma squeezing and dealer hedging, and the whole market has been along for the ride with it. Last thing I will add about the markets right now, there is a growing divergence between SPY and Berkshire Hathaway. Buffett's book has been brutally underperforming the index for years now, but this happened the exact same way in 1996 and 2005. The smartest cash-rich balance sheet on the planet is not chasing this rip. This is not a prediction, it is an observation. Markets that get this stretched on this kind of breadth tend to find out the hard way that gamma cuts both directions. Now let's talk about Trump's stock filings, because this is the story of the day and it is going to keep going. The Office of Government Ethics published the president's Form 278-T covering the first quarter. 3,642 securities transactions, roughly 58 trades for every U.S. trading day in the quarter. Total transaction value at least $220 million on the low end of the disclosed ranges, with a high end approaching $750 million. That is not a passive index portfolio. That is active trading at a scale you would expect from a hedge fund, not the sitting president. The names: Nvidia in the $1 to $5 million range, Apple same range, Oracle somewhere between 2.2 and 10.6 million, Dell, which he bought on February 10th, $1 to $5 million, plus Broadcom, Synopsys, Cadence, Texas Instruments, Intel, practically the entire AI infrastructure supply chain. And here is what makes the timing even more hilarious. The president certified this filing on May 8th. He landed in Beijing today, May 14th, with the CEOs of several of those exact companies on Air Force One with him, and the disclosure dropped the same day the China delegation hit the ground. Let's now talk about some issues with the timings of his trades. His Nvidia purchases were made before Huang joined the China trip, a trip where AI chip exports were the central topic. And as of this week, the US has reportedly cleared around 10 Chinese firms to buy Nvidia's H200 chip. Also, his Dell purchase preceded his public endorsement of the company at a White House event. And here is the year-to-date performance picture on that portfolio. Yeah, the numbers speak for themselves. Whatever you call this, you do not need a finance degree to see what it looks like. These individual stock picks are in companies that sit directly under the administration's export controls, tariff exemptions, and AI policy. The question is not whether it is legal. The question is whether the disclosure regime that exists today is built for a president who trades like this. And before we wrap, a few things from the macro pile worth your attention. Japan yield curves keep rising, and the Bank of Japan is signaling rate hikes are coming. If Japanese yields keep ripping, the yen carry trade, the very trade that has financed risk assets around the world for decades, starts to unwind even more. Additionally, global money supply came out with a record number. It is now at $121.9 trillion, up $17.1 trillion over the last 2 years, up $27 trillion off the 2022 low. This is the chart that explains why oil rallies, hot inflation prints, and a Middle East war can all be in the news on the same day the S&P prints a new record. Additionally, there is a developing helium shortage story that, if it lasts, will hit semiconductor manufacturing directly. File this one under the kind of supply chain story that might not move the tape this week, but definitely will in the very near futures if nothing changes. So here is the bottom line on today. The index made a new record. Oil sat at $100. Japanese yields continue rising higher to levels not seen since the Asian financial crisis. And the sitting president's brokerage account looks like a thematic AI fund. Druckenmiller has a line: never invest in the present. The market is always looking 12 to 18 months out. The job is to figure out what the world looks like then, not what feels good right now. Right now feels good. 12 months out is a different question. Tomorrow, 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Watch for after-hours flow on the names tied to the China delegation. Friday is also Empire Manufacturing and Michigan consumer sentiment in the morning. That's the tape. I'm Brofolio. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you tomorrow.